Now it's my very great pleasure to introduce our next speaker who's going to finish off this morning. Dave Blanchard is the CEO of the Mandino Leadership Institute. Mandino wrote the perennial bestseller, The Greatest Salesman in the World. I know, that deserves applause all by itself. An incredible, incredible book. Dave is the author of Today I Begin a New Life and The Observer's Chair. His new book, Becoming an Entrepreneur, The First 3 Critical Decisions, will be released in early 2017. Dave is also the creator of the Intentional Creation Assessment and Training Programs. His company, which is the official Mandino company, has assessed over 70,000 entrepreneurs. He knows a lot about how we think. He has coached with over 4,000 clients, including CEOs and their executive teams, business owners, including real estate agents and brokers, professional athletes, and couples. He knows our business. He has been a partner in a real estate firm and has built or bought and then managed well over $60 million worth of real estate. He is here today to serve us and share principles, practices, and processes that can assist us in being more successful, happier, and have greater peace of mind. Please give a warm exit welcome to Mr. Dave Blanchard.
Thank you. It is great to be with you this morning. Don't you just love intentional creators? These are individuals who get a vision and then act without hesitation, doing whatever is required to create intangible reality, that which they've seen so clearly in their mind. And today we celebrate one of those visionaries, Stephen. Your company's metal has been tested. The dross has been burned out and the gold has been refined. It's an honor for the Mandino Group to be here with you, because at the core and foundation of what you've chosen to do is lift and build human beings. Don't you just love Tammy's heart? 200 presentations, 100 plane trips in the last year. And the only problem is if she flies on Delta, she still doesn't get an upgrade. But that's in 52 weeks. I was talking to Ed yesterday back there in the middle aisle, and he said, I don't even try to keep up with her. You know what I'm talking about. Erica, when I visited with Erica, she said, I enjoy leading from behind the scenes, the glue that holds the corporate together, to everyone at corporate. And to all of you, regional owners, franchise owners, brokers, agents, congratulations on this anniversary. I'm here because we love what you're doing, and 2, we want to see what we can do to help you do it better. That's where we're headed today. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce my sweetheart, Ramona. I know you're in the audience. Where are you, sweetheart? If you could just wave. Last Thursday, Ramona and I celebrated the 42nd anniversary of our first date. Isn't that fun? We haven't been apart very many days since. With 7 children and 27 grandchildren, you can imagine where she spends most of her time. 6 of them live within 30 minutes of our home. So just imagine Sunday dinner. You'll begin to understand why I provide the meat and they all bring something else and we serve from the counter. I also brought along Paul. Paul, if you could stand. Paul's only my mini-me when I'm up on this stage because he's 6'5" and 305 pounds. Paul grew up on these principles, cut his teeth on them. Then he went and worked with Jack Welch. Some of you may know Jack, the legendary CEO at GE. Paul was the director of admissions for the Jack Welch Management Institute MBA program. And 2.5 years ago, I said, it's time to come home and work with Dad in taking these principles to the world. And he's joining us, along with his wife, Ashley, who's the mother of 3 beautiful daughters. I emphasize this because of all the successes you'll create in your business, the greatest work you'll do will be in the walls of your own home. Just don't let the sunlight of success ever obscure the stars in your life. Now, if you go to our home, you will find this statue. It's by Frederick Remington. It was his first and most famous statue. It's called the Bronc Rider, Bronc Buster. Now, the original was only about 20 inches high. This one stands 5 feet 4 inches high. And it is in the entranceway for a very specific reason. You see, when I found this statue, it was in somebody's garage and it had been there for 10 years. And before that, it was in someone's yard for 20 years, subject to snow and freezing rain and blistering sun. It was crusted with calcium deposits. I negotiated for 9 months for this statue, paid a nominal price, brought it home, and began the work of restoring it. You restore bronze statues with a propane torch and a brush and wax, and you heat it, and it starts to break down the calcium deposits. Then you paint on a little wax. It gets hot, and you put a little bit more on, and pretty soon I revealed a spot about this big on the neck of the horse. Polished it with a little cotton cloth, and guess what? That beautiful bronze patina came through. I knew that with focused effort, I could do that to the remainder of this statue. Now, when I got to the base, it was a little bit more difficult. It was really almost solid white. Some baking soda, some essential oils, pure lemon oil mixed in a paste, carefully administered, along with a little wire brush trying to avoid breaking through that very thin patina of the bronze. Look at it. Isn't it beautiful? I walk by it every morning. Just walk by it, I take a look at it, and it reminds me 2 things. 1, every person I meet that day, no matter how crusted they are, with the calcium deposits of life, underneath that is a beautiful bronze patina. And as importantly, me too. Me too. Anybody have a self-doubt? Do we not always have those moments? We have those. But what do we do in those moments? Do we remember our bronze patina? Well, today, I'd like to give you an invitation to stretch and grow and become all you were meant to be. I'd like to apply a little bit of heat today, if that would be okay, and a little wax and a little polish, and see if we can't get to the bottom, underneath some of those calcium deposits created by life when we're left out in the cold. And in so doing, assist you in finding your bronze. You up for the task? Ready for a little heat? We didn't come today to be entertained. We came here today to be better people, did we not? So let's begin the journey. I love this quote by Og Mandino. It's found in the greatest salesman in the world, the fourth scroll, when he says, I'm not on this earth by chance. I'm here for a purpose, and that purpose is to grow into a mountain, not to shrink to a grain of sand. Henceforth, I will apply all of my effort to become the highest mountain of all, and I'll strain my potential till it cries for mercy. That's not higher than the next person. You're not in competition with a broker in your office. You're in competition with yourself to create the very best version of you so that you can acquire ever-increasing levels of ability to handle ever-increasing levels of responsibility with ever-increasing levels of ease. With success comes responsibility. I hear all the time, Dave, if I just made $100,000 a month, all my problems would be solved. And I know the person laughing is going, yeah, just wait. Whole new set of problems, right? Whole new set of problems. And if we've got the $100,000 a month and we haven't grown, we are overwhelmed, confused, discouraged. And that which we thought was the answer is not. So two things. We want to acquire ability as our responsibility increases so that what used to bury us emotionally, we can handle 5 of them by 10 o'clock and we've still got a whole day left. And second of all, inspire those who work with you and for you to do likewise. It takes both. You have a wonderful compensation model. Get paid for selling a home and a single level residual? Are you kidding me? Hello? You're actually rewarded for introducing someone to this journey, this worthy journey of becoming an entrepreneur. You know, entrepreneurs wake up every morning unemployed. And we're okay with that. The house we live in, the cars we drive, the food we eat, the clothes we wear, the opportunities we have for our children, all depend on what? The results we create, both in selling homes and recruiting new agents. We don't get paid for being busy. Welcome to corporate America, other than exits corporate America. Yeah, people get paid for being busy, doing a lot. Here, you only get paid for results, no matter how busy you are. This is a wonderful place to live. But it takes a very special person, because sometimes someone looks at one of you and goes, I want his life. Which means I want your house, I want his car, I want her bank account, right? And so we get this suitcase packed and overflowing with unrealistic expectations, and we step off the curb of employment and we get hit by the Greyhound bus of reality. Boom! And some get up and go, wow, that didn't work. What will? And some go back and live a life of mediocrity. It takes a very special human being to become an entrepreneur. And the fact that you're sitting here makes you one of them, no matter how successful you've been to this point. I want to arm you with some things that can assist you in finding success at a faster pace. So you don't have to learn all of the lessons, but in learning and applying, you can become a more successful entrepreneur. 3 decisions, 3 critical decisions. Craig mentioned them briefly this morning. Number 1, get to become the boss. What does that mean? I'm going to choose to be self-directed, acting on my own moral authority, doing the next right thing for the right reason because I want to. I get to. I choose to. Now, I happen to believe in a higher power. I call that power God. And I think sometimes we go to Him and say, what should I do? What should I do? If you're really listening, you might hear this. Something. In 1989, Ramona and I lost millions of dollars in the real estate industry. We were building and managing large apartment complexes. Just went through our fingers like water. We couldn't stop it. Oh my goodness. Some really dark nights. I was the corporate guarantor. Anybody been one of those before? The $1 million the company owed, the bank came to me to collect. We spent the next 10 years paying that back. Now, I'm not going to say bankruptcy isn't a good idea. Sometimes it is. I just had lessons to learn. So for me, it was paying it back. In the darkest of those dark nights, I mean, it was a dark night, had a $1 million life insurance policy. And it was looking really attractive. Took about 4 nights to write a note that made sense. It still didn't, but it was the best I could do. Planned everything. But when the sun came up the next morning and I hadn't executed the plan, I was just simply angry. I longed to cry to the God of my youth, but the God of my youth will not hear my cry. I must change my God or change my cry. Anybody want to guess which one had to change? I wanted to be rescued. I wanted a simple solution. It didn't come. I had to change my cry. And one of those was to become self-directed. Og writes it this way. I love these words. I hunger for success. You feel that? I hunger for success. I thirst for happiness and peace of mind. Lest I act, I will perish in a life of failure, misery, and sleepless nights. That's where I was. Failure, misery, and sleepless nights. I will command. Ooh, I love that. And I will command, and I will obey my command. I will act now. What does that all mean? I will command. Decision number 2. I'm going to hire myself. So here I am. There's actually a term for this. It's called metacognition, which means I can step back from my own thinking and reflect on my own thoughts. Matter of fact, human beings are the only one with this gift. So here I am, and here are my thoughts. Now, I'm not my thoughts, but those are my thoughts. I'm not my thoughts, but those are my thoughts, okay? I drag them everywhere I go. They impact my emotional state. They impact the decisions I make, the actions I take, the results I create. And Og Mandino says, I have surrendered my will to these years of accumulated habits. And the past deeds of my life have already marked out a path which threatens to imprison my future. What are your thought processes? Do you know? Did you know we can finally measure them? formal science of axiological mathematics. We've spent 16 years perfecting this science. It uses Cantor's transfinite calculus. Now, before I scare you to death, math was my least favorite subject in school until I had a purpose for it. We can measure how you think. Not what you think, that could be a relief, but how you think, and share with you the thoughts that are, in fact, supporting your efforts and the thoughts that may be sabotaging your efforts. If you're going to hire yourself, it might be a good idea to know what you're hiring. You can go to our website, augmandino.com. Really simple, augmandino.com, and take the assessment for free. You can do it on your mobile device, your iPad, your computer. Take a free assessment, and sometime during this conference, go to our booth and ask Paul to spend 10 minutes or so going over your results and see if he can't give you some guidance. The assessment's free. When you spend some time in there, you'll go, how can you give this for free? It's really simple. Really simple. We're in the business of shifting, but we want you to know what needs to be shifted. Now, with entrepreneurs, we've done this 70,000 times. I've spent an hour and a half with 6,500 people going through their results. It's the most sacred place you can be with a human being, other than with my wife. Just inside their mind, reflecting on their thought processes. And we always hear, how do you know that? I've never told anybody that. Well, that's how you think. And here are the risks of thinking that way. Would it be valuable for you to know this piece? Now, if you want to go around naive and I just don't want to go there, that's okay. Some people aren't ready to go to this place. But if you're ready for heat, if you're ready for some wax and a polish and for your bronze to shine through, you want to know. Let us serve you while we're here. That's why we're here. I'm going to introduce it today, but we're here to serve you all week long. And we'll be here through Thursday afternoon to do that. Third critical decision. Improve myself. We live in a world where self-improvement is more focused on circumstance improvement. Today, we're in a convention. This is not self-improvement. This is preparation for self-improvement. You read a good book. I'm reading a great book on strategy called Deep Drive on the airplane on the way here. Great book. Preparation for self-improvement. You hire a coach and work with one-on-one or in a group. That's not self-improvement. That's preparation for self-improvement. What is self-improvement? It's really simple. In a private moment, pivotal moment, with consciousness and preparation, armed with principles and practices and processes. And I'm smiling because 1,200 of you get affirmations from Steve. That's preparation for this moment. So that when the thought process pops up, and you usually go that way, you choose instead to go another way. And you choose the other way over and over again, and you dig a new furrow, and you're planting good seed, and you very literally grow a new neural pathway in your brain. And the brain's so kind, it synaptically prunes off the old habit. And Mandino says, one day I wake up with a vitality I've never known before. My enthusiasm rises. That word means the God within. My gifts within come out. And I find myself more joyful than I ever imagined in this world of strife and sorrow. The world still has strife and sorrow. I'm choosing to think differently. That's self-improvement. That's where it happens. There's nothing you can purchase from us that's going to do this for you. Self-improvement is done by yourself in that moment. That's the truth. And anybody who wants to sell you a quick fix, well, it depends on which way your mind's going, whether it'll work or not. Let a man radically alter his thoughts, James Allen said in a little book called As a Man Thinketh. Some of you like that book, I know. Radically alter your thoughts. And what? You'll be astonished at the rapid transformation it will affect in the material conditions of your life. You want more money? Want a more successful real estate practice? Want a nicer home? Nicer car? Better educational opportunities for your children? Are those things you want? Then where do we start? Radically altering our thoughts. We can't skip this one because we're going to drag them around with us. And if they're unhealthy, they're going to sabotage everything you do. Everything you do. So, what are the 3 decisions? Choose to become the boss, self-directed. Hire yourself. I was at a conference recently, and I was walking out, and a gentleman came to the aisle, and he said, "Dave, can I talk to you for a moment?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "I took your assessment. I measured my thoughts. I don't want to hire me." I said, "Good news. They're just thoughts. And I can share with you the principles and practices and processes to shift them because truthfully, you have no choice. These are your thoughts. You do have to hire them. Choose to improve. Choose to improve yourself." Those are the 3 decisions. Now, we've gone from the starting in our car in the parking lot to the starting line of our business. Too many get into this business and they're in their parking lot. And we're trying to say, all you got to do is 3 of these, 4 of these, this system, this thing, that thing. Well, if you're still in the parking lot, this doesn't matter. Make the 3 critical decisions, make them every single morning. Og actually gave us that counsel. Today I begin a new life. Today I shed my old skin, which hath too long suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity. Today I am born anew, and my birthplace is a vineyard where there's fruit for all. That's a morning decision. I'm going to get out of the parking lot, which could be your bed, and I'm going to get to the starting line of my business, and now I'm ready. And on this path to success, this straight and narrow path, S-T-R-A-I-T, a circuitous route between the rocks and the shoals to the summit so we don't fall off the cliffs of fantasy and catastrophe and all those other dangers. What are the first 3 mile markers? Well, I'm going to share them with you because when we know these 3, we can awaken intrinsic motivation. That's a deep, fibrous, visceral drive. And guess what? It's not a theory. It's mathematics. We've taught the principles. Did we know they're supported by math? This is what it looks like. You see it? That little thing that looks like an N is called an aleph. It's the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It's a symbol for an infinitude. Index 1, this will be very short for those of you going, I don't want to go back to school. Index 1 means a non-denumerable infinite to the power of a non-denumerable infinite. This is the mathematical symbol for the intrinsic value of a human being. There's actually a mathematical value. We have to use Cantor's transfinite calculus to create the symbol because we are beyond value. We are priceless and unique. For simplicity, I'll use the symbol I to the power of I, intrinsic concept. That's the human being valued intrinsically. In the mathematical hierarchy that governs this planet, there are 18 levels. That's number 1 of 18. Number 2, a non-denumerable infinite. A thing, I can denumerate it, and I value it intrinsically. E to the I. This means I love my business. I love my career path. I love what I do. Can you feel it? Of all the things in the mathematical hierarchy, number 1 is people. Number 2 is intrinsically valuing your career path, loving what you do. Number 2. Number 3, intrinsically valuing structure. Singular concept to the value of a non-denumerable infinite. 1, 2, and 3. What does that mean in more simple terms? Here we go. I to the I, the single most important mathematical measurement. Number 1, seeing my own bronze patina. This isn't about being egotistical. This is about being whole and complete and comfortable in conversations, being real and genuine and authentic without the need to impress, pretend, feel ashamed, or fear. It's the most difficult task in our mortal existence. And it is the highest level of maturity. Be comfortable with you. Because when you're okay, it's really easy to be okay with someone else. Equally important. See your own patina, see the patina in others. Number 1 most important mathematical measurement. I think I just described the math for Exit's mission, did I not? Number 2, E to the I. When we find this business and we intrinsically value it, internally we find joy in the journey. Externally we ignite passion. We work without counting the cost or tracking the time. When we intrinsically value structure, we're self-directed and vision-driven. Externally, we embrace structure, the systems. Craig talked about a great one this morning. Can you see where it all fits? 1, 2, 3 out of 18. These are the most important. This morning we talked structure. Let's put the people, then our love for the business, the structure, and we have a pathway to success. But after 70,000 assessments, would you like to know what we discovered? 90%. If you can see these colors, 90% have an enormous capacity for empathy and accurate intuition. Challenge. Internally, 85%. 85% have almost debilitating internal dialogue, self-deprecating, where we question our worth and our worthiness, our ability, our appearance, our skills, our talents, our education, our contribution, the mistakes we've made, and sometimes even our own ideas. What are the chances that with that much noise in our heads, that we can be totally available to serve another person? We are robbing ourselves and everyone around us of our greatest gift. Now, the good news is, I can show you how to shut off that noise so that you can access that gift. And you do have it. You're natural at loving people. We just have to get you in a place where you can. E to the I. 85% passion-driven. That's a capacity. A capacity. And 75% are not finding joy in this journey. You know the number one cause? An unmet expectation. I want everybody to do this with me. We're going to say, ugh, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ugh. You do better than that. This should sound familiar to some of you. 1, 2, 3. Ugh. This is what happens every time life shows up differently than our expectation. We're on our way to a listing appointment. We checked our bank account before we left. Our spouse really wants to get that carpet for the living room. We've already calculated the estimated price of the house, the commission, whether we sell it ourselves or sell it with another agent. We're already picking out the color. We've estimated when it would be installed. And they're not home. Ugh. Or they are home and the meeting goes really well and you get excited on the way home. You actually stop by the carpet shop and check it out. And 2 days later you find out the house was listed with a competitor. Ugh. You feel it? Or they said they were qualified, the buyer, and then you found out they weren't. Or, anybody had this one lately? The appraisal didn't come in high enough. Or when you got the title report, the fence is 2.5 inches on the neighbor's property, and the seller won't move it. Or it's inspected, and to everyone's surprise, the basement used to have 3 feet of water in it, and the owner never noticed. Can you say it with me one more time on 3? 1, 2, 3. 75% are living in this space. Wouldn't it be nice to know how to use your gift of vivid visualization differently? Let me share you where most people use it. Here's the now. We go into the future. We got the listing, we got the sale, we got the commission. Now this is a good thing because we want to have a vision of possibility, right? And if we come back here, think about the last 20 years. Millimeter, 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 millimeter. Economy. Millimeter, millimeter, millimeter. Can you feel it? Look what's been created. Intentionally created. Og said, I'll keep my eyes on the goal above my head. I'll ignore the obstacles at my feet, for where dry desert ends, green grass grows. No matter how bad the economy got, this company kept plowing forward because it had a mission bigger than the economy. That's creation. However, here's the risk. 97% of you have the ability to vividly visualize. 98% of you are at a high risk of using it this way. Life's kind of tough. Been beat up a little bit. I'd like it to be a little easier. So I come here and I start to imagine what this is going to be like. And then I do this. Watch the subtlety. I start playing out little vivid scenarios about what it's going to be like after the sale. And guess what? Because of your unique thought processes as entrepreneurs, you create a new mental construct. That's a new reality in your mind. It's so real that the sympathetic system starts to release norepinephrine. That's a euphoric drug. It's like cocaine. We feel euphoric. It's wonderful. But guess what? When one of those moment comes, boom, the antithesis. The sympathetic nervous system releases cortisol, a stress hormone. It's released to heal wounds and speed up metabolism. The body thinks you're being attacked by an enemy. It gets worse. In the middle of your brain, the limbic brain, there's a little almond-shaped thing called an amygdala, fight or flight center. And it sends out an army of fear dendrites. And its purpose is to shut down all the energy-rich parts of your brain, to centralize everything in flee or fight. starting with your prefrontal cortex. Empathy, practical judgment, common sense. 90% capacity, 85% capacity. Just did brown out. You're going to want to learn how to use this gift of vivid visualization in a way that it gives you inspired ideas, intuitive impressions, and creative solutions. Because if I had you wired to a functional MRI, when you got one of those, we would see part of your brain ignite that is normally dormant in a human being. Ignite your passion. You begin to create, and you again begin to find joy in your journey. Now, this won't be a surprise. 97% of entrepreneurial folks, to a mathematical certainty in this room, after 70,000 assessments, naturally resist structure. Now, Glade, who owns the Utah region, I asked him what's the one thing he wishes. It was really a wise comment. He said, if they would just follow the exit system, they'd be successful. And true. And I said every one of them would if they were not entrepreneurs. But wouldn't it be great? Because I want to show you today how you can and inspire your people to embrace the structure. Because if 97% are naturally resisting it, and 95% are not living in want to, get to, choose to, they're living in have to, should, must, even fear of consequences if I don't. That's like strapping on a backpack full of rocks in the morning. You know, some big and some small, but all of them really heavy. And going through the day, it's like running a marathon at a sprint pace with a backpack full of rocks. Can you see the vision? It's exhausting. And if we feel beat up, we're at high risk of going in here and spending a little time in fantasy and you'll be spanked. The body is not built for fantasy. It's built for intentional creation. It's built to give you inspired ideas that ignite your passion. It doesn't know what to do with this. Autonomic, that's a word you might want to write down. It's more than automatic. You go here for 10 minutes, I promise you, in the next 24 hours, you will have what Dan Goldman at Harvard calls an amygdala hijack. Cortisol, fear dendrites, shut down, overwhelmed, discouraged. Why am I in this business in the first place? What was it they said? I can't even remember. When we're calling friends, can you remember what they said? We're in confusion because the part of our brain that makes that work is shut down. So mile marker 1. Are we ready? We know it's eye to the eye. We know it's about loving others and loving ourselves. A couple just little hints. Number 1, agape love. The staff is in the Eros room. Eros, Pia, Philo, agape, the 4 Greek words for love. Eros, erotic love. Pia, maternal love. Philo, brotherly love. Agape is a heightened level of awareness. It's seeing someone's brass patina, no matter how covered they are in calcium deposits from life. That's agape love. We could spend hours on this one topic. It's called intrinsic validation. We can try to game a conversation. But don't you know when someone is just going through a sales funnel when they call you? You better believe it. We're going to want to learn how to notice what's important to people. We're going to want to know how to listen to understand. Not to be understood or not to respond, to understand. Hear those little hints. Ask empathetic questions born out of your own experience. Some of you have been dragging around some really painful ones. Let's take them out. My most painful happened when I was 3 to 5. Dad was in Chicago going to school. Mom was working in a high-rise. She grew up on a farm. A couple decided they could take care of us. They couldn't have children. Problem, they were pedophiles. Now, in the late 50s, I'm not sure that word was in the dictionary, but they took a whole lot more than they ever gave. What's in your sack? I don't share that with you to say mine's more serious than yours. That's not the point. It could be your 5th grade teacher said something to you and you have never been able to let it go. What is it? Take that and engrave it on your heart so that it's available as a rich resource. Your character, and the reason I know this at such a high level, 2 o'clock this morning, I was standing here talking to you, and it was so powerful of an impression. Your character has been forged in the furnace of adversity. You know what pain feels like. Can you take it back? No. But you can choose to use it as a rich resource to better understand what someone else is going through. You'll hear things nobody else hears. You'll see things nobody else sees. If you're courageous, you'll ask questions nobody else will dare ask. You are more acutely attuned to what someone else might be going through. Oh, have you ever experienced this? And you watch your client go, finally, someone cares enough about me to know where I am. Ponder this. When's the last time someone cared enough about you to really listen? Till you felt understood. And they didn't try to fix you or give you advice. It's really rare. The invitation in mile marker 1 is to become rare. Can you imagine if the reputation of Exit Realty is, they listened to me. They wanted to know where I was. They wanted to address my issue. They cared about me. You care about each other. We want to care about them. I love Og and Scroll 2. I'll greet this day with love in my heart. Muscle can split a shield and even destroy life. But only the unseen power of love, agape, can open the heart. And until I master this art, I'll remain no more than a peddler in the marketplace. We do not want to be peddlers of real estate. Personally, when you practice intrinsic validation and someone's walls come down, scientifically measured, 40% of their energy and productive cooperation is behind the wall. When you see the patina, you get past the crust. You cared enough to find out. And the wall comes down. You didn't have to throw up on it. You didn't try to find a crack and jump on it like a fox on a mouse. No strategy, just caring. The wall comes down. The energy pours out. Guess who the beneficiary is of that energy? You. And it fills a void in your soul. 2, when you use your mind constructively, mentally rehearse, seek inspiration, explore possibilities, plan, goal set, problem solve, all with the intention of blessing a life, you get inspired ideas. They ignite your passion. You take action and you create things you didn't have otherwise. I don't want to offend anyone, but I'll just tell you what I wrote in the observer's chair. You know and are known. You trust and are trusted. And that knowingness is the greatest healer of self-esteem. It's the second way. 3rd, let's spend some time with your true self. Anybody here ever procrastinated? Yeah. Noise in my head. Task screaming at me, but this noise is louder. The closer I get to it, the louder it becomes, and eventually I have no choice but to jump in and do the task. And what do I almost always say when I do? Yeah, that wasn't so hard. Why did I wait so long? Now let's add the word wow to it. Wow. Wow. That wasn't so hard. Wow, why did I wait so long? It's a really good question. Let me walk you through it one more time. Noise in my head, noise in my head, noise in my head. Urgency, shut off the noise. The true me jumps in. The true me jumps in. I get to spend time with myself. And the genius is so incredible, even I'm surprised. How long have you been playing this game? Delay, delay, jump in, surprise. Delay, delay, jump in, surprise. Stop it. Bob Newhart, everybody watch that? Stop it. You're robbing yourself and everyone else of your second greatest gift, that common sense, practical judgment that drives the passion. Mile marker 2, E to the I. We could spend a day on this. You want to create your dreams. You want to create your business. Now, we're going to take this fantasy discussion just a little deeper for a moment. What's your secret desire and your real intention? We often say, my children, my family. You want to know how to find out? Find that place, that time during the day when you just freewheel. For me, that's just before I'm going to sleep at night, or when I first wake up in the morning, or when I'm driving in a car. When is yours? And practice interrupting your thought processes and saying, where am I? What am I thinking about? Are my thoughts focused on building a successful business and creating my dreams? Or are they more focused on having life be a little easier and less stressful? It's understandable if we're in the second place. But this should be a wake-up call for all of us. This may be the hottest heat I apply today. But the greatest gift you can give yourself in this pivotal moment to make the decision, I no longer am looking for ease and less stress. I want to become all that I can become. I want to build the most successful business. I want to create my dreams. And I use this gift of vivid visualization, and I make this decision. I'm going to engage in life. I'm going to embrace these principles. I'm going to connect and serve. I'm going to create value everywhere I go and with everyone I meet. And I'm going to contribute to the world. That replaces a desire for ease and less stress. This could be foreign for some. This is, in our world, we even sell easy buttons. You can get them at the store. It's only worth it if you're willing to pay the price for it. Let us make this decision today. Can you see it? I'm going to engage in life, embrace principles, connect, serve, create value, and contribute. Because if I do, and then I go to this very vivid visualization that I may have spent time in the past in fantasy or catastrophe, and now I'm going to be constructive, and I am going to get those inspired ideas, those intuitive impressions, those creative solutions. They are going to ignite my passion. Passion is the gift you are given to sustain the work of creation. Passion. Nobody gets to skip the work. That's a true principle. But you get to do work that's boring, mundane, burdensome, repetitive, and hard, or you get to do the same thing, passion-driven, working without the cost, working without counting the cost or tracking the time, doing whatever is required to create your dream in tangible reality. If those are your two options, passion-driven or boring, mundane, repetitive, burdensome, and hard, which do you want? Which do you want? It depends on the secret desire and the real intention. May you have the courage to make this decision. Oh, if I were selling ease, the world would be lining up. Only really special people are willing to be entrepreneurs and to be filleted wide open and expose all of those pieces because they want to know what they are, because they want to be all they can be. In terms of your dreams, find things that inspire you to be creative. Find things that encourage. I love that word. Add to your cœur. We have some French Canadians here. Cœur, heart, blood. Add to your heart to stretch and grow and become. And things that foster abundance. I hesitated to share this, but I'm just going to share it. This week, after we leave here, we go to our cabin in Bear Lake, where we will take Susan Zumbrunnan and her husband John. I mention them by name because they're in our book, the first book I wrote, Today I Begin a New Life. She suffered third-degree burns on the fronts of her legs, an incredible human being with tremendous agape love. And we're going to spend the weekend just reconnecting. January, February, 5 couples will come together and will take on their marriages. Number 29 and number 30 on our couples retreats. 30, that's 300 people, have come there to take on their lives. This is where we take our children, our grandchildren. Hundreds of people that we've sent up there to just have a break from life for a few days. We sent some up, and I've got heads all over. Hope you don't mind me telling you this, but there's a giant moose and an elk and a bear, and we came back and they had sticky notes on all the noses with names on them. We knew they had fun. They had really unwound. I'm not telling you how big it is, where it's located, how beautiful it is. It is all those things. But we created that because it inspired us. It encouraged us to stretch and grow and pay the price to create it. And it fosters abundance. We have it to share it. Sometimes our dreams are more about buying tropical islands where we can build a house and get away from all those annoying people. Matter of fact, I saw one. Every place I go, I look at real estate. There's an island for sale not too far from here, $6.5 million. It could take you another $6 million to build the house. Where do your dreams go? When we focus on creating the most we can with the clay we've been given, we find joy in the journey, and we naturally unlock the third marker. S to the I, an intrinsic valuation of structure. Why? Entrepreneurs resist structure being imposed, but an entrepreneur will embrace structure that helps them better love a human being and themselves, that helps them ignite passion and find joy in the journey, and this will help me do that. I want that structure. So the question is, what are you resisting? And could it be when we say, well, you need a bigger why? I just gave you the mathematical bigger why. I to the I, E to the I. Because the very things you want are right behind the things you're resisting. You want to have the courage to break through them? Make the 3 critical decisions. Choose to become the boss. Choose to hire yourself, then improve yourself. Not your circumstances, really yourself. Follow these 3 road markers, these mile markers. 1, love people and yourself. See the brass patina even when it's covered. Find an intrinsic value for what you're doing, something you love so much, you'll do whatever it takes to create it. And you have that. It's perfect. Create a great business, then use the revenue to create even more. And embrace the structure. I to the I plus E to the I equals S to the I. Og Mandino, in considering the principles that I've been sharing with you. Started scroll number 9 with a really interesting statement. My dreams are worthless. Oh, that's kind of scary. My dreams are worthless. My plans are dust. My goals are impossible. All are of no value unless I take action. My procrastination, which has held me back, is born of fear. I've learned the secret mind from the depths of all courageous hearts. There's that core word again. To act without hesitation, and the flutters in my heart will vanish. Action reduces the lion of terror to an ant of equanimity. So to increase my value, I increase my action. I will walk where the failure will not walk. I will talk when the failure remains silent. I will work when the failure seeks rest. I will call on 10 who can buy my goods, while the failure makes grand plans to call on one. I'll say that it is done before I say it is too late. And as I quoted earlier, I hunger for success. I thirst for happiness and peace of mind. Do you? If you do, make these critical decisions. Embrace these mile markers. This is the cry you want to change. You're not going to be rescued. But when you choose to become an intentional creator of your life, you watch what opens up. It's almost miraculous. Yeah. Now, there's ogmandino.com. Go take your assessment. That's the first action. Go see Paul. If you don't have one of my books, come and get one. I'll be happy to sign it. If you want to have books for your team, give us the names. And when we get back into Salt Lake, instead of having you have to haul them home, I'll sign them and ship them from there for free if you live in the United States. If you're in Canada, small fee, less than it actually costs, because you deserve a break today. We want to make sure you can get them to your team as well. We have enough here that Canada, you may want to take some with you if it's less expensive. You still get the discount here and not pay any shipping. And one last thing. There are a lot of ways in which we can serve you. But the one I'm most excited about is 100 of you. Just 100. That's the maximum we put in a entrepreneurial boot camp. You want to get through these decisions? You want to learn how to intrinsically validate and use your mind constructively and stay present in the now and passion-driven action, embracing structure, finding joy, and healing your self-esteem? If those things that are important to you, join that boot camp, because we want to take you through that process for 6 weeks. Then we're going to give you an AUG vault. An AUG vault is all of our training to address all the measurements in your assessment, all in audio programs and video programs that you'll have access to, along with a coaching session every Tuesday. Now, Paul does those normally. He happens to be with us today, so we have one of our 50 coaches delivering it today, and they'll do a great job. But to have material and not have ongoing coaching generally results in a package on a shelf that's just not opened. We want you actually using this stuff. What do you think I'm going to charge for you to spend 6 weeks with me in a boot camp, get the AUG vault, the weekly coaching sessions, and all of my books, and all of AUG's books? How about $5.99? If that would serve you, be one of the 100 that go in and say, I want the AUG vault, I want the entrepreneurial boot camp, I'm ready for the heat. I'm ready to get those calcium deposits removed so that my bronze can shine through. If that would serve you, let us serve you. It's a pleasure to be with you, and it's an honor to be able to bring the Mandino brand, reputation, and integrity to such an amazing organization to celebrate with you your 20th anniversary. Thank you all.